Right now, somewhere in the world, a person is lying in bed at 2 a.m. with their face lit by a phone screen. They're swiping through pictures of strangers. Their heart rate is a little elevated. They're looking for something. Maybe a conversation, maybe a hookup, maybe something they wouldn't be able to put into words even if you asked them. What they're actually looking for is older than agriculture, older than language, older than your species. The feeling we call falling in love wasn't invented by Hallmark cards or romantic comedies. It wasn't invented by the troubadours of medieval France, or by Shakespeare, or by anyone else who tends to get the credit. It's not even uniquely Western, and it's not the side effect of having too much free time. It is a piece of biological hardware that has been running inside human beings for at least 100,000 years, probably longer. And the same chemicals firing inside your brain when you can't stop thinking about someone were firing inside the brain of a woman sitting beside a campfire in Eastern Africa, watching a man she had just met across the flames. Most people assume romantic love is something humans invented after they got comfortable, after agriculture, after cities, after enough time on our hands to write poetry. The assumption is that ancient people busy hunting and gathering and not dying didn't have time for crushes. The evidence says they did. In 1992, anthropologists William Jankowick and Edward Fisher set out to test something nobody had bothered to test. They wanted to know if romantic love existed across all human cultures, or just the ones we tend to study. They went through the ethnographic record of 166 different cultures from around the world: tribes in the Amazon, hunter-gatherers in southern Africa, Pacific Islanders, Mongolian herders, communities anthropologists had documented in deep detail. In 88.5% of those cultures, they found unambiguous evidence of romantic love. Love songs, love poems, stories of lovers running away together, suicide pacts when families forbade marriages, personal accounts of obsession, longing, sleepless nights. And the 11.5% where they didn't find it? In every single one of those cases, the anthropologist had simply never asked. When researchers went back later and asked directly, the people said, "Yes, of course we fall in love. We just don't talk to outsiders about it." So, love is universal. But where does it actually come from? In the late 1990s, a biological anthropologist named Helen Fisher at Rutgers University started putting people in MRI machines. People who had just fallen in love, people who had just been dumped, people in long marriages. She wanted to see what love actually looks like inside a brain. What she found was that romantic love isn't an emotion, it's a drive, a specific circuit that activates the dopamine reward system, the same system that lights up when an addict gets a hit of cocaine. The brain of someone in the early stages of love and the brain of someone using a stimulant look almost identical on a scan. The obsession, the euphoria, the inability to stop thinking about one specific person. That's not poetry, that's pharmacology. Fisher proposed that humans have 3 distinct mating systems running in parallel inside us: lust, which is about sex; romantic attraction, which is about focus on a particular partner; and attachment, which is the long, calm bond that lets you build a life with someone. Each one is run by different chemicals, and all 3 of them are ancient. In 1981, an anthropologist named Owen Lovejoy looked at a small set of fossilized bones found in Ethiopia, bones belonging to a small, upright walking female who lived 3.2 million years ago. Her nickname was Lucy. And Lovejoy proposed that the reason Lucy's species started walking upright in the first place was not for speed or for seeing over grass. It was for love. His argument went like this: a male hominin who could carry food back to one specific female and her children instead of just eating it wherever he found it, gave that female and those children a huge survival advantage. So, evolution selected for hands that could carry, hips that could walk, and brains that could form lasting bonds between 2 specific people who had decided they were each other's. The pair bond, in other words, may be one of the oldest things about us, older than fire, older than language, possibly the reason we became human in the first place. We can even see the chemistry of it in animals that aren't us. In the 1990s, neuroscientists studying small rodents called prairie voles noticed something strange. Prairie voles are monogamous. They form lifelong bonds with a single partner, raise pups together, mourn when their partner dies. Their cousins, the montane voles, who look almost identical, are not monogamous at all. They mate and move on. The difference came down to a single hormone, vasopressin, and the receptors in the brain that respond to it. When researchers gave montane voles the same receptor pattern as prairie voles, the unmonogamous voles started forming pair bonds too. Humans have those same receptors. We are wired, biologically, for monogamous attachment. Whether we always honor that wiring is a different question, but the hardware is there, and it has been there for a very long time. So what did this actually look like in ancient humans? Anthropologists who study modern hunter-gatherers like the Hadza of Tanzania, the Kung of Botswana, and the Ashe of Paraguay have gathered detailed records of how mates are chosen in groups still living something close to the ancestral lifestyle. The findings are striking. People in these societies fall in love. They choose partners. They reject arranged matches. They sneak off into the bush together. They write love songs. They mourn lost loves for years. Frank Marlowe, who spent decades with the Hadza, recorded one elder describing a man he had loved as a young man and never gotten over. The elder was 80 years old. The man had been dead for 50 years. He still cried when he talked about him. This is the part that quietly rearranges your sense of history. The feeling that keeps you up at 2 a.m. staring at the ceiling because you can't stop thinking about one specific person is not a modern invention. It is, in the most literal biological sense, the same feeling a young woman felt 100,000 years ago, watching a young man on the other side of a fight. The same dopamine, the same vasopressin, the impossible, illogical, all-consuming focus on one single human being out of all the humans on Earth. You didn't invent it. You inherited it. Every love song you've ever heard is a translation. Every time you've fallen for someone, you've joined a chain of people stretching back further than any written record can reach. There were people before there were countries, before there were calendars, before there were words for it, who looked at one other person across the dark and felt their entire chemistry rearrange. They didn't have a word for it, but they knew exactly what it was.